So I've got about 3,200 miles on my 2019 Ram ProMaster. It's time for me to do the first oil change. And I've never done an oil change on this van before, but I just finished one in my 2013 Town & Country, which has the same engine, so hopefully it's very similar. We'll figure it out together. So this is the hood release latch, pretty straightforward. Then you go over here, and under the middle of the hood, you've got your release. And you've got your hood prop, of course. Now, down here I've got my supplies. Before I get to that, I did park on a set of leveling blocks that RVers use to adjust the level of their campers when they're out. We just have these in the back of the van. I'm using them just to lift the front passenger corner a little bit. But for supplies, we've got the Mopar AC revision of the MO349 filter. Now I've got 6 quarts of Mobil 1 5W30. The manual calls for 5W20 oil, and Jasper and a couple of other experts have recommended 5W30 because it is a little thicker, keeps the top end of the engine lubricated, and might keep that Pentastar tick at bay, which is a common problem on these 3.6 liter engines. Now, over here I've got a torque wrench for reasons we'll get to in a moment. I've got the 15/16 inch socket for the oil filter, and I've got a 1/2 inch socket for the drain plug. Let's just go ahead and drain the oil. I've got a catch pan here under it. Easy does it. All right, we'll just let that drain for a bit. Now let's come up top side, and you'll see we've got the oil filter right here. Let me see if I can attach my phone camera in some useful way. Sorry for the jiggle camera. Check that out. So here we take the 15/16 inch socket, weasel our way down in here. Now, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get a torque wrench in, but we'll try. Torque spec for this is 1.5 foot-pounds, or 18 inch-pounds, if you will. It's a very, very light torque. I probably don't even need a torque wrench. It's just a little tighter than hand tie it. Looks like we got it. Let me get this wrench out of the way. Alright, so here we've got the oil filter. Yay. Kinda gross. And we've got our MO349. Beautiful. I'll have to clean up this oil mess in a bit. The oil filter comes with an O-ring in the box, and you definitely want to replace that. This is a seal that sits around the oil filter cap, and you'll want to replace this before you put the new oil filter back on. But yeah, make sure that you do that as well. This just makes sure that everything stays nice and sealed. This can get pretty worn pretty quick. But yeah, that just snaps right on there. So it'll go with this protrusion facing down. You snap it back onto the filter cap there. Get this back in and we'll tighten her up. There we go. So I'm not going to rely on my torque wrench because it just flat out won't fit down here. I used a torque wrench on my Town and Country, but it's just not going to happen. There's not enough room under here without taking a bunch of stuff out. So we're just going to drive this thing home really quick, really loose, very, very easy there on the torque. That's all there is to it for that. Let's go back down to the underside and take a peek, see what's going on down here. Still just a little bit of oil, but that's good. We're fine. I'm going to go ahead and plug this up and get the drain plug put back in. Just hand tighten, and here I'm not sure what the torque spec is, but you just don't want to go too hard on it. There you go. All right. Go ahead and drag the drain pan out. That's the other filter for my Town and Country. And folks, we are on the home stretch. I didn't know if I could do this in 5 minutes. I guess I can't. It's been about 7.5. Manual calls for, I think it's 5.9 quarts of oil. I'm not sure who came up with that number. I usually just add about 5.5. Then I'll back it off the ramp that I built and check the oil. It's usually a little low, and then I'll add most of the rest of the 1 quart. Just got myself a little funnel here. I kind of forgot to mention that in the parts and tools, but it's always nice to have a funnel here. It's pretty windy today. Sorry for the jiggle on the camera. Got ourselves almost 5 quarts of oil in here. Getting there. Of course, I'm spilling some. Whatever. Ourselves another 1/2 quart. There we go. Yeah, it's about 1/2 quart. I'm gonna go clean my hands off before I grab my phone. Alright, the other thing we do is we look for leaks, and I don't see anything leaking. This is just ice melting off my driveway, so no leaks. That's a good sign. I was going to drop the hood, but I'm just going to back it off the ramps. Can't forget the parking brake. Alright, and we also look for any oil lights or anything like that that would indicate low oil pressure. Things look good here. We'll do a quick dipstick check and see how we're doing here. Nice. We're in the right spot here, so we're pretty good. I'm gonna wipe down some of the oil I spilled in here before I button up, but that's pretty much all there is to the Ram ProMaster oil change.